Hello and welcome to the Wellbeing Wanderer podcast. I'm your host, Kat Burdett, wellbeing coach, eternal nomad, and self-love enthusiast. Come join me on a journey as I deep dive into what it really takes to achieve that happy, content state of being. The goal of this show is to bring you those feel-good vibes, expand your learning, and encourage your own personal growth so that you can discover what well-being means for you. I'll be exploring every and any genre, including health, mindset, spirituality, and much more. So get ready for a juicy, mind-opening, raw, and real experience where no topic is off limits. I hope this helps you to feel good. Hello and welcome to the Wellbeing Wanderer podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Kat Burdett. I am a health and wellbeing coach, and I am here to share as much information as I can with you on wellbeing. So today it is officially the first video recording of the podcast. So it's extremely exciting. And hopefully by now you'll be seeing this not just on Spotify, but also on YouTube. So to kick off the show on video, I've decided to invite a guest on. Today, I welcome onto the show the incredible Meg Ellis, who is a certified conscious life coach, a motivational speaker. She's the host of global wellness retreats, and she has her own podcast called Create Your Fate. Meg is amazing. She's empowered thousands of people on the path of self-discovery to transform negative mindsets into positive, life-affirming beliefs, helping them live their absolute best life ever and gain a deep sense of authenticity, self-acceptance, and purpose. So in this powerful conversation, we deep dive into the concept of limiting beliefs, personal transformation, and the journey of self-discovery. We explore how our conditioning and subconscious programming shape our reality, and most importantly, how we can break free to live more fulfilling lives. You do not want to miss this one. So without further ado, here is the wonderful Meg Ellis. I hope you enjoy this very first recording on video of the Wellbeing Wanderer podcast. Hello, beautiful Meg, and welcome to the Wellbeing Wanderer podcast. I am so excited to have you here with me today.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I am so excited to be on your show. So thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. And for those people listening, Meg actually reached out to me and she was like, I really like your show. I'd really like to come on. Would you have me as a guest? And I mean, of course, how can I resist, Meg? So,
well, I'm telling you, we're kindred spirits. We are just so aligned and alike. I just knew that a conscious conversation could just be something amazing. So again, thank you. I'm filled with so much gratitude.
Oh yeah, me too. Total gift. Thank you so much. Okay, well, let's kick this off. So the question I ask all my guests to start with is, what does well-being mean to you?
I think well-being, if I had to wrap it up into one word, would be balance. I think that word is overused. It's understood. And I think everybody is attempting to achieve it in a certain way. And I think that's where people get stuck in, how do I get balance in my life? How can I achieve balance? And I think it's something that we overcomplicate. So I love talking about it because it's something that is achievable for everyone. It's something that just requires a little bit of intention and focus.
My God, I've got like the biggest smile on my face because literally talk about us really being like kindred spirits and aligned, like balance. I've been banging on about this for ages, like in the past sort of month or so. Like it all comes back to balance. Everything we do, too much of something is too much for you, too little of something's not enough. But it's always about finding the balance and coming back to that place. And yeah, so that answer is just so aligned to me. Awesome.
Yes. I had a feeling it might be. Again, we're kindred spirits. We are the same. I love
it's like interviewing myself, you know, that's what it is.
Yeah, this will be even a great conversation, even better than we had even imagined.
I think it might be, yeah, just from you starting out with that, I'm convinced.
Like, whoa, this is about to get really good. So stick around. The balance is, I think, I mean, first of all, who does not want balance? Everybody wants balance.
Yeah.
And I think we just have been taught that it isn't achievable or the wrong ways to achieve it. And with this, I think comes understanding the intention of balance and the intention of slowing down and really analyzing. I mean, even the word mindfulness, right? You would associate the word mindfulness with well-being. And I think a lot of people don't know properly what mindfulness actually means. And so when you don't have that mindful moment that goes in behind your search for balance, I think a lot of people automatically go to restriction. Oh, I can't have that. I can't have that. I have to say no to this, or I'm not eating this, or whatever this is, balance. When really it's not about restriction. Self-care, well-being is about reflection. And we live in a very fast-paced world where we don't get a lot of time for reflection, that more of that restriction is glorified, that hustle is glorified. So really, but when we take a second and just sit down, take a pause and reflect, I think that is the first step towards balance, and you're not going to be able to have it without that.
Beautiful, 100%. And of course, I was thinking of creating a podcast episode very soon on creating space within your life, spaciousness, so that you can do exactly that. Because yes, without that reflection, we are just going 100 million miles an hour, and you're not really living life. It's just passing you by, and you're missing the whole point of it. So slowing down is amazing, and it's certainly been a powerful thing that I've done in the past year. And I don't regret it at all. It's created so much spaciousness for me. So keep listening, guys, because I will dive into that in a solo episode soon.
Yes, so I will be tuning in for that one for sure.
Amazing, thank you. So I'm curious to know what actually sparked this mission for you, Meg, of helping others find happiness and love themselves.
So, as a life coach, I'm a conscious life coach. So that means bringing consciousness into your life, right? That's what mindfulness is. It's observation without judgment. That is the exact definition of mindfulness. And similar to how you described it, life was passing me by. I was just coasting. And many people are living life in what I like to call a sleep state, right? Where they are just coasting. Life is just moving and they're not actually present in their own lives. And I was missing out on so much. And I discovered a personality test called the Enneagram, which is what I do all of my coaching from. I coach from the lens of the Enneagram. It is the most spot on personality test you will ever take. And it changed my life. So I started really reading about my personality type. It tells you why you do things, why you avoid certain things. This super ego message that tells you you have self-worth, you're lovable, you're good, you're okay if, and then it attaches this big if statement that many people still abide by unless you get consciousness, which is just awareness of these little programs that or stories that run our shows for us. And once you wake up, once you see certain things, you just can't unsee it. And so I just started really diving into, this is 2020, so we did not have a lot going on during that time. So I was just really diving into consciousness, the Enneagram, law of attraction, just all these concepts that really spoke to me and really helped me slow down in my own life so I could actually start living it and experiencing my own life. And life just became so delicious for me. My entire life changed. Who I am now is not who I was 10 years ago. And I just didn't want to keep that to myself. There's so many people out there who are walking around asleep in their own lives and they're missing so much and they have no idea that what they are waiting for, what they are wanting, what are they, looking for to change on the outside, everything is on the inside.
Yeah, I completely agree. Everything external is a reflection of your internal world. And
Mm-hmm.
so many people do not have this self-awareness, and they've never even thought to look at themselves in that way. And they're also quite happily led by structure, the structure of society as well.
Yeah.
And it is worrying, because having done this work myself as well, and bringing consciousness, as you say, to why you are the way you are, and doing the inner work, as I say, it's incredibly freeing, it's liberating. And then you realize that when you do that, you're actually going to be living life and taking the actions that align with you. And so life is going to get brighter, it's going to get happier. And you're not just going to be mindlessly doing things because you're doing them and it's all been pre-programmed. You're going to actually make a choice between whether that thing feels aligned to you or not. And so that consciousness, that awareness, I mean, that is the first step in any change that you do. And personally, I found like, yeah, the more awareness that you bring to yourself, the more fulfilling and enriched your life experiences.
Yes. And it doesn't take anything on the outside. And I think that's, again, society has not, I mean, they essentially taught us that our self-worth, our happiness is on the outside. We get strapped with something called, what I call, I'll be happy when syndrome.
Yeah.
Right? I'll be happy when I get the big house. I'll be happy when I find a romantic partner. I'll be happy when I get the promotion. And so all we are doing is we are delaying our own happiness until something happens, right? The relationship, the house, the promotion. And the funny thing is, most of the time, when you get there, when you achieve what you said would make you happy, that happiness is fleeting. You get the new house, and then something happens where your neighbor, your friend gets a bigger house, or the plumbing breaks, or whatever it is. You get the promotion and you're so happy until somebody else gets a better promotion, or you actually don't like the role, or you weren't as happy as you thought you would be. So now it's like, well, this thing I've been chasing, it's not bringing me happiness. So now what do I do? And we
Yeah.
continue to look on the outside, because let's be honest, it's easier to look on the outside for sure. That's why so many people do it. It's so much easier to look for happiness on the outside.
And we're fed all these, well, I think, lies that we need all these things external to us. We're constantly bombarded with this from like social media, from TV, from everywhere, from movies, telling us, oh, you need this, you need that. And so it gives us, develops this culture of always like something's missing and we always need more. But we don't need more. We actually have um everything within ourselves to be happy at this moment in time. So, I mean, I don't know what you found, but for me, it's been about just the mindset shift and being able to shift your mindset in a way where you can create that happiness right now in this moment. And if you've got it there, then, and you've got control over it and no one else has got control over it, you can create that happiness whenever you want to. It's always a choice, like I said before, right?
Yes. Yes. Happiness is a choice. And that choice, I think the choice is, where am I going to look for it? That's the choice. There's plenty of choices that involve this decision to be happy, but one, it's like, am I going to look for happiness? Do I want to be happy? Yeah, I think most people would answer yes to those questions. And now it's okay, it's a matter of, where am I looking for happiness? But also, when am I looking for happiness? I'm probably going to botch this quote, but I saw it somewhat recently. It says, most people never find happiness because they look for it in a place where it does not exist. They're looking for it in the future, when really happiness exists in this moment now. But again, going back to balance, and that on to the next thing. You wake up and you jump up out of bed and you hit the alarm and you automatically either go to social media and compare yourself to other people, or you look at your emails and you think, oh my God, I didn't do all these things yesterday. I have to do all these things today. Let me hop up, pump some coffee into my system, raise my cortisol level, automatically enter the day in stress with things I didn't do, guilt, things I need to do, stress and anxiety. And we put this self-administered pressure on ourselves, and that's how we wake up. And then there's all other the cascade of the ripple effect from that, but that is how we go into our day. And so where's the balance in that, right? Where's that pause? Where's that reflection? Waking up, I'm not saying you have to wake up and meditate for 30 minutes, but can you just wake up, pause for 60 seconds and put an intention to your day? What do you want your day to be like? What do you notice about the moment that you're in? Where is the happiness and the gratitude in this moment? I just woke up. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for that. Right. And when you start your day, how you start your day is I'm super protective of my morning routine because of that. And I'm not a routine person. If you knew my Enneagram type, my personality type, I'm like all over the place. But those couple of minutes in the morning, you really can choose to protect them, and it changes your entire day.
Yeah. And what you're talking about there is part of self-love, that choice to put yourself first and to create that space to reflect inwards. So let's talk a little bit about like self-love. Well, firstly, what is self-love for people that are listening that maybe don't fully understand the concept, because that word, that phrase like banded around so much. And I think people often get it confused with self-care. Self-care is a part of self-love, but it's not really like self-love. So would you mind offering your view on that?
Yeah, no, of course. And I think you're right. I agree with you, where self-care is an action that comes from self-love.
Yeah.
Or you love yourself, the more you want to care for yourself. And that's that, I'm dedicating time to actually reflecting how I feel about myself, right? If I'm filled with self-love, and if you break it down to just the simplest description, it's I love myself, period, right? It's not I love myself if. And that's why I loved the Enneagram, because it basically breaks down what is this fake negative thought that has been in your brain that is determining your actions, because it gives you this if statement. Most people are perfectionists. We'll just start there. This is a common one. You're lovable. You can love yourself. Others will love you if you do this perfectly, or if you're successful, or if other people around you are happy, right? And these are these little fake news messages, like I call them. And so you have to break that down first and say, I love myself. I'm worthy of love, period, without that if statement. And I think that's what life is figuring out, where in my life am I abiding by this if statement? Where am I depending, I guess, putting emphasis on my worth? Where am I putting this in other places in my life? The promotion, the house, the relationship, whatever it is. And it's, again, that's external. So self-love is truly, I honestly think the emphasis on the definition isn't love, it's the self. I love myself, period. I love myself.
Yeah,
Nobody can do that for
absolutely.
you.
And something I want to pick up on there is like, what's creating the if? And that's really what I love to dive into with my coaching. What's
Yes.
creating the if? Where's that coming from? Because the if, well, I'm not going to explain it. I'm going to get you to explain it. I'm into I just, as you can tell, love talking about it. So
Yes.
your
It's so
mind.
interesting. The if.
And can I just say as well, there's that film that just came out, not that I'm trying to promote it, but it's called If, Imaginary Friend. But I just thought, I had a brainwave. I was like, that's actually a really good description of it, because it's not real.
No, it's not real. It's all in your head. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to watch that movie. I'm not a big movie person, but that sounds like something I would like. So thank you for that shameless plug. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, you're welcome, people that created the movie.
Yeah,
But
thank
yeah,
you.
so where is that if coming from?
So I coach from the lens of the Enneagram. Like I said, it's that personality test. It is the most spot on. I've coached hundreds of people, honestly, probably thousands at this point, um, on the Enneagram. And I've never seen it. Now, I've never seen it be inaccurate. I will say there's people who aren't willing to accept it, right? You have to be willing to see it's part of yourself. And it's wildly spot on because it tells you this if statement, right? Which determines our behaviors. If I think I'm only lovable, if I'm perfect, then my behaviors are going to reflect that belief, right? That's where actions start from. They start from a belief. And so I'm going to start, from a very young age, pleasing my parents with perfection. So where it comes from, at least from the lens of the Enneagram, is it's a nurture versus nature kind of concept where from the ages of 2 to 4 our personalities really start to form, because when we come down here, we're babies, we don't really do much, our brain waves are very, very slow, and so we accept everything as truth. We can't really process all this information because that's not, our brain isn't developed that way yet. But as we get older, from the ages of 2 to 4, we start to assign truth to things and have thought patterns. Our beliefs turn into our thought patterns. So the classic example is pink is for girls, blue is for boys. So I'm starting to just observe, oh, girls wear pink. That must mean that pink is for girls. Oh, boys wear blue. That must mean blue is for boys. Now, imagine that same thing, but bigger concepts that are shaping you. Mommy never pays attention to me unless I get a plus on my, kindergarten homework or whatever. And again, these are not always formed by extremely traumatic events in childhood. It's just the way it could be something as simple as your birth order, or do you have two working parents, or who raised you?
Mm.
And what happens is your brain waves change over time. They actually speed up. So that means it's harder for you to change your mind. So whatever you believe gets more deeply ingrained. And so as you get a little older, your brain waves change again, and you keep having these thoughts: pink is for girls, pink is for girls, pink is for girls. Now I'm in the habit of buying pink because I believe I'm a girl and I'm gonna buy this pink because that's what I believe. Pink is for girls. And what happens is now I'm in a habit of it. And so what happens is as we get older, our brain waves speed up even more. So very hard to change your mind, right? Think of a 3-year-old learning how to ski versus a 40-year-old. 3-year-old just picks it up because they're in a different way of receiving information. And so now I'm in this habit. Well, I've bought pink for, the last 10 years. This is just who I am. Oh, this is just who I've always been this way. I've never thought about where it comes from. I know I'm the kind of person who buys pink. That's just what I do. And so you have something called your personality, and that develops over time. And you just think, oh, this is who I am. I can't change. I've always been this way. And so I don't think we're talking about pink is for girls and blue is for boys anymore, but you have these little messages that say you're only lovable if you're perfect, or if others' needs are met, or you're successful, or if you stay true to yourself, or you become the master of something. And what happens is this belief, especially if you don't know it's in there, it runs the entire show. And once you have consciousness of this belief, you can start to see it. You're like, oh, this is where this is showing up in my life. I'm attached to this big if statement. And that just, in my opinion, just leaves so much up to chance. Am I going to feel lovable today? I don't know. Is this if statement going to be thrown in my face? Well, that's just a little unstable for me. It kind of puts everything in other people's hands and how my day is going to go and my circumstance. So,
Yeah, it's your, yeah. So to sum it up, it's your conditioning and your your beliefs that create your reality, your perception of yourself right now and the
Oh,
world
yeah.
around you. And they do become more hardwired as you get older. That is true. And I think it was Dr. Joe Dispenza that said, I think you form your personality by the age of 35. Mm-hmm. And by the way, for people listening, I did my mindset work at 36. So don't worry.
It's never too late.
The point is that there is this neuroplasticity, there is this ability to rewire the brain. So you're not a lost cause. It doesn't mean that you can't change, you can't rewire those beliefs. And this positive rewiring is how you take back your power and take back your control. And then that's where you start to feel good. And this is something that I've been through, and I'm sure you've been through, Meg. So yeah, I feel like it's a really powerful tool. And I want to pick up on something you said there earlier. So the people are very resistant to doing this work, I have found, because it's intimidating. It's like holding the magnifying glass over yourself. And people like think that they're going to they feel bad about themselves. They start to shame themselves and put themselves down. And I think if you can get into a space where you're just able to look at yourself objectively without judgment and just looking at the facts, I think that is like a huge first step to take in all of this. Mm-hmm. And it kind of breaks the ice, so to speak, on this work. And this is why, I found you have to have somebody that's really ready to do that. And
you do.
So for those people listening, like, if you want to do this work, you have to be prepared to look at yourself non-judgmentally without shame. And have you come across that much in your coaching with your clients?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you are speaking right to me, because how I describe it is, whatever this if statement is, right? We come down here, and I like to call it your essence, right? We literally just say, hey, I'm lovable, your soul, right? Whatever your soul, your essence, whatever you want to call it. Your soul comes down here, and essence is like, I'm lovable. It's going to be so great down here. And then your ego pops in to protect you, right? You have different parts of you. You have your essence, who you truly, truly are, this pure energy, your soul. And then you have this part of you, the ego, which always gets a really bad rep, but truly it's really there to protect you. You think back to caveman times, right? A lion is chasing you. Your ego says, hey, there's a lion chasing you. You better run. That's your ego. However, we have evolved, but the brain, not so much, because the ego now still pops up, but it's like, well, your coworker got the promotion. You didn't. You're not smart. You're never going to get a promotion. You're going to have this deadbeat job forever. And you're going to hate how you spend 40 hours a week for the rest of your life. You should have done this better. Maybe next time you would get it, right? It has changed over time, but you come down here and you're like, I'm a lovable energy. And then your ego kicks in and says, hold up, have you seen it out here? Like, and, it's during that age of you're observing your surroundings, right? Your nurture time. It's like, this person's not going to care for you. This person's not going to care for you. This person only cares for you if you do this. So I'm just going to take over just for a little bit, just to protect you. Let's just kind of put this protective wall, this if statement around you. And it's really just to protect you. So this wall then becomes our mask. And so I like to say your personality is not who you are. It's not your essence. It's the thing that is protecting your essence. But we don't know that. So the first part of it is consciousness. Oh my gosh, I'm wearing a mask. So a lot of people in the who are entering their personal development journey, I think they're kind of at that point where they're like, something's on my face and I can't really tell what it is. It doesn't feel right. I think there might be something else out there. And then they have this moment where they're like, oh my God, I've been wearing a mask. That's not who I am. Mm-hmm. And when you take the mask off, you can finally breathe and you're like, oh my God, this feels so good. But I don't know how to keep it off because I don't quite understand it. So personal development, the work that you do is, you have to, one, realize that you're wearing a mask. Two, are you willing to analyze it And that's where I think a lot of people are, where they're like, okay, I'm either going to do this work. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be painful in moments because I just realized I've been living a completely different way than who I actually am. And sometimes people do say, you know what? I'm not ready for it. I would rather just put the mask back on because my life is easier that way. And your ego will always try to protect you and say, hey, girl, like put the mask back on. It's just easier. You know how to live life. There's more certainty if you just put the mask back on because we already know how everything's going to go, even if it's not what you want. So if you're listening to this episode, figure out where are you in this lineup. Have you realized that you're wearing a mask? Have you seen the mask? And are you going to keep the mask off?
Yeah.
That's the 3 steps that you got to see. Hey, where am I in this?
100%. But sometimes I found with my clients as well, and obviously with myself, we get pushed into a corner, you get backed into a corner where you think, if I don't take this mask off now, I am not going to survive. And it's that moment that we actually want to change and that we want to do the work. So I'd love you to expand a little bit more on that aspect of things as well. You know, what are those points, those moments that really make people want to do this work?
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good question. I've seen it all over the board. Sometimes you do have that, what is it called? A rock bottom moment.
Mm.
I think I see that a lot less than people would think. I
Yeah.
think people think, oh, I'm not there yet, or I have to hit rock bottom to make a change, when really that might be a very, very small percentage of the people who come to me.
Mm.
I think it's most people just feel like something is missing. And I've tried to fill it with X, Y, and Z, the promotion, the relationship, the house, and I still don't feel happy. What is going on? There's this lack, this void, this missingness in my life. There's a thirst for something. It's like I'm thirsty for something I've never tasted. This I can't even identify it, but something's off. Something's I feel like I'm in a rut, that kind of feeling, where I feel like there's more out there for me. There's got to be something more out there. I think that's another really, really common sign that you're ready to do the work, when you just feel like there has got to be something more out there for me. Another big sign that you are ready for the work, or that you're in a place where work would benefit you, is when you are noticing that you can't be present and you're sick of it and you really want to you've identified the chatter in there, but you don't know how to turn it off. Those
Mm.
are probably really common places where I see people start the work. It's not this, oh my gosh, I'm, drunk in the back of an alleyway and I don't have any family or friends left,
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it can be that sometimes. And that I would call that a wake-up call. You know, you hit rock bottom, you're kind of
Mhm.
like, if you don't change how things are, it's just going to get way worse for you. And yes, absolutely. It doesn't always have to be that way. Sometimes it is a slow build up. I think for me, I just got so sick of my own crap. I got so sick of feeling like I hated myself.
Mhm.
I was just over it. I was like, this is absolute bullshit. Like, I need to change this. And I was like, right, that's it. I'm going to put myself first, and started like a healthy living regime and eating well and exercise. And that's what kind of did it for me, really. And then I was like, damn, I feel really good. And oh, I want more of this. What can I do? Let's do some meditation. That's meant to be good for you. And I just kind of like tried all this stuff. And then had a spiritual awakening from that, and everyone knows my story, I'm not going to go into it on here. But yeah, and then it kind of all kicked off from there, and then created this major like reflection, like you say, and consciousness. And then I was like, yeah. And I just wanted to know more, and I wanted to understand it. And it was very, very liberating. And I
Mhm.
think because I went into it out, with a curious mindset, I think that's quite a key piece as well, because Yeah, if you're obviously fearful, it's not really going to work. But if you have this curiosity, um, and you kind of almost you're like playing with it, playing with the idea. Oh, well, what happens if this, and let's try this, and then that's when I think it can be less pressured and feel less overwhelming, and then also less judgmental as well. And yeah, I just I couldn't believe it. And I remember at the time I was telling everyone about it, and then no one was really listening. And I was like, I don't understand. I found this thing. Why are they not listening?
Right? Yeah. There's this pot of gold here. Try it. See, it works. It's amazing. But again,
Yeah.
you have to find people where they're at. Some people just haven't gotten to that place where they realize they're wearing a mask. And if nothing is bothering you, why would I change? Right? Your brain will always take the path of least resistance. Always. That's why even in a moment where you're like, oh gosh, I'm wearing a mask. It's just easier to put it back on, right? Oh, it's just easier to blame everybody else for my problems. Oh, it's just easier to think I'll be happy when this happens because then I don't have to face the fact that I'm not happy now, right?
Yeah.
It's just, it's always the easier option. You never have to convince your brain to take the easier option, and it's that work. So the second part in my methodology of coaching is consciousness, awareness of, oh, I'm wearing a mask, or I want to make a change, or whatever it is, consciousness, and then willingness to shift. You
Yep.
have to be willing to shift. And I love that you use the word curiosity because there is no set path. There's everyone's different, right? There's in the Enneagram 9 personality types, but even so, within that realm, everybody's different, right? We could be the same personality type, we'd still be different. There's things that work for some people and things that work for other people that don't work for other people. And
Mm.
it's being curious enough to find out what works for you, right? Somebody tells you, hey, get this app, meditate for 30 minutes every morning. And you're like, okay, I'll do that. And then you're like, oh my God, it just doesn't work for me. So let me just give up. No, you have to go in with that lens of curiosity of, okay, I'm not somebody who journals for 15 minutes every day, but what I really would like to do is just wake up and think of 3 things that I'm grateful for. That works for me. And
Yeah.
allowing yourself to be a beginner and an amateur, you're rewiring your brain to not hate yourself. That's going to take some time, you know?
Yeah. And I love what you said there, because a key piece of what you just said there was simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a really big piece around not overwhelming yourself. And James Clear talks about this in Atomic Habits. Make it
I love that book.
it's so good. Make it small, make it achievable, and then congratulate yourself for it, right? Because
Yes, those micro wins.
micro wins, yeah. And I'm always going on about this with people, because and with my clients, I try to, anytime they do, and they're like, that's amazing, that's brilliant. And it is, because it's a step in the right direction. It's a step forwards. You're not standing still anymore. And that is really powerful, because you're teaching yourself self-love in that moment. You're teaching yourself praise, and you're overcoming what you've already been so resistant to. And so it's really, really powerful and really important, I feel.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I love the concept of celebration. Again, we do this to ourselves. This is all self-administered affliction of thinking we have to wait for anything, right? But happiness only exists in the now. You can be happy in the now. And I was teaching gratitude is really important to me. It's one of my top values. And I was with my 5-year-old nephew, and I'll explain it the same way that I explain it to my 5-year-old nephew. So I go out to Los Angeles, and it was a weirdly cold couple of weeks. It was freezing, it was raining, which is very uncommon for that area. And we're sitting inside and we're drinking hot cocoa. And I'm just letting him, I'm the fun aunt. I'm the favorite aunt too. Um,
Of course.
but I'm letting him put in all these marshmallows, as many as like it's overwhelmed or overflowing with marshmallows. I'm like, yeah, put in as many marshmallows as you want. And we're sitting there and they're melting and putting more in there. And we're drinking this hot cocoa. And I had invited him to do a gratitude practice with me every morning that I was there. And I said, Miles, do you know what gratitude means? And he goes, no, but he's about to write what he's grateful for. I said, it means you're happy for the things that you have and while you have them. And he goes, okay, so he's writing down, he's grateful for his hermit crab and for Candyland and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there because he's an emotional child, and it's just choosing what to focus on. And I'm sitting there being like, you can be happy anytime you want, because he's not happy when he loses Candyland, but he's very happy when he wins Candyland. Again, that is an external factor that is determining your happiness. So if you're listening to this, what is your Candyland, right? Is it the romantic partner? Is it the job promotion? Is it the happy or the big house or whatever? So what's your Candyland here? I said, Miles, here's what we can do. We're in the same situation. Nothing has changed. It's raining outside and we can't go outside on our hike and it's cold. And we are drinking hot cocoa together and we have unlimited marshmallows. Both things are true at the same time. Which one do you want to focus on? Because I could sit here and be like, oh, this is awful. It's raining and we can't go outside and it's terrible. Or I could say, wow, I'm so happy and grateful that I am eating unlimited marshmallows with you while we drink our hot cocoa. Nothing about the situation has changed. Nothing has to change. It's all about where you direct your thoughts.
100%. And this is something I teach as well. It's like life is going to keep on going by. It's going to keep on keeping on. And sometimes you'll like it, sometimes you won't. But what are you actually going to decide to think about it? Because you can have the same thing happen and it can be enjoyable because you can think about it. You can think about the moments that you're grateful for right there and then, the little things. Or yeah, you can focus on the negative, and that's just it. So it's like it really is about this redirection. And when I found teaching this as well, like, and to myself, but when you do it enough times, you kind of do it automatically. It becomes habitual, and that's it. And when you've got that, you're like, oh, and so it's been a good, when did I start this? Like 2020, 2021. It's been a good few years now that I literally, like, I don't think about it anymore. And then people often say, oh, you're so positive, Kat. Like, I'm like, well, I just trained myself to be. And they're like, what? But yeah, that's it. And it's just about this rewiring, this positive rewiring. And that's the key. And we are, as humans, like you say, your ego's primary function is to keep you alive and protect you. And it will default to the negative setting because that is how it looks for danger, to stop you getting eaten by a lion or whatever it might be. Less likely these days, unless you're in a zoo. But yeah, so that's it. It's about this positive rewiring and making it habitual. So I think for me, I found the key is that the more you do it, the more it becomes second nature to you, and then you don't have to do it anymore. So this work we're talking about, I don't think it's forever. I think it's just do a little bit, let it flow for a bit, do a little bit more, let it flow for a little bit, and you keep just adding bits in. It doesn't have to be overwhelming or anything like that. And so that's been my personal journey, and being open to just constantly being open to reflection, yes. to readjusting, right?
Being open to being open. I love that. I think too, allowing, it's a Buddhist philosophy. I follow a lot of these philosophies. They just make my life simpler, of non-attachment, of everything is temporary, right? There was a phase in my life where I was meditating for an hour every single morning. And here's my perception, right? So you've started doing this work and now you're feeling guilty because I was journaling for a month straight and now it's fallen off after my vacation or whatever, and we have all these opportunities that guilt pop in, right? And allowing things to be temporary and seasonal, I think there's a lot of freedom and happiness in that, because yes, at one point I meditated for an hour per day And that was really beneficial for me at that time. Instead of feeling guilty that I don't do it now, well, now my life looks different. I don't necessarily need to do that, or it's not as intentional or purposeful. Doing things without intention and purposeful just to do it. Oh, I should meditate for an hour. Right? That's not mindfulness. That's mindlessness. You're not doing it with any type of intention. So allowing things to be seasonal and saying, wow, instead of feeling guilty that I don't meditate for an hour every day, I have gratitude. You can always replace guilt with gratitude of I'm really glad that I did that for, a couple years, because it really did rewire my brain when that was very new to me. And now it's like I'm allowing myself to be in a different season. I wake up and I am really strong in my gratitude practice. I do a couple other little things in the morning, and that's okay. And it's giving yourself grace. I think along with celebration, a missed opportunity for gratitude is not giving yourself grace of, yes, this worked for me and it served its purpose. Thank you for that. That year or two I meditated for an hour a day, that served me really well.
Mm.
And now this is the season that I'm in, and it could change again. And again, using your word of curiosity versus I have to do this forever until the day I die. No, that's restriction. That's not reflection.
Yeah, definitely. That really resonates with me because I did that thing of guilt, and I did a similar thing with the meditation. I meditated every day for like 2 years, and always like going on about how amazing meditation is. And then I just stopped doing it. But what I realized is that I felt really good, and actually it's not something I needed necessarily to do at that frequency anymore. Um, Sometimes you just you get to a place, you reach a place where, yeah, like you say, you've changed, things change, and if you can let go of that attachment and just let it be and just keep tuning back into yourself and really just feeling into yourself, what do I need right now, what will serve me at this moment in my life, and pay attention to that instead. um and it's this, we were talking about this before we came on actually, but this grasping and clinging on to things for for dear life, like I can't let this go because it's so good, I think it's so good. But it's yeah, everything. And again, music to my ears, Meg, this is what I teach all the time. I'm always talking about everything's in a constant state of change, constant state of flux. And yeah, sometimes you do need to take your own advice. And yeah, now I feel a
Yeah.
lot less stressed.
Yeah, that's what makes you a great coach, is when you can give other people advice, but don't always follow it yourself. It's like, oh, I should take my own advice here. Let me just apply that.
Yeah, I mean, we all have our blind spots.
Yes. Oh my
Every
gosh.
coach needs a coach. Every coach
Oh,
needs a coach.
I 1000% agree. You have to keep in that growth mindset, and just because otherwise you can just get so, again, attached to the process of it versus the intention of it.
Yeah.
And I see people all the time. I have a lot of friends in the personal development world, and it's like, oh, I haven't journaled in a week, I'm terrible, or I've really fallen off my practice and I got to get back to it. And again, those are not acts of self-love. That's self-deprecating. Yeah, I'm dogging on myself because I haven't journaled in a week. But really, your mind's just going towards that, the rainy day outside, but look for the hot cocoa moment in your life. Yeah, you didn't journal for a week, but these are all the things that you did do. So give yourself some credit. It's not like you didn't journal for a week and you've completely derailed your whole life, right? And self-sabotaged, and again are in the alleyway drunk with no friends and family left. It's calm down, give yourself a little grace. What else did you do? Allow yourself to change. And a lot of people don't give themselves permission to change your mind. Again, that ego comes in and it says, no, 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 we do not want to change anything, because on this system that we have, we can protect you because it's predictable. Your ego wants your life to be as predictable as possible. So therefore, that resonates as me not giving myself permission to change. And that's forcing things and controlling things versus allowing. And when you are in that state of allowing, whether it be, journaling or not journaling, or finding happiness within yourself versus waiting for the promotion. Whenever you're in that state of allowing, I'm going to be happy even if I don't get the big house or promotion. That is that flow state. That is where happiness exists. That's where things happen for you. It's when you realize how easy it can be, that you don't have to force everything, when you just allow yourself to be. But a lot of people don't allow themselves to be because they don't like who they are. So it's going back to that self-love. I think a big missed part of self-love, because we do put an emphasis on self-care. I'm going to divert and then come back. Self-care is also driven by consumerism, right? You need the massage, you need the red light mask, you need the eye patches, you need all of these things to be happy. Whatever that looks like. That's why, I mean, we constantly have that message of you're not enough, you need this, and this, because it's going to, fuel consumerism. But how do you get self-love and without adding in that self-care aspect? What's something that costs you $0 is self-acceptance. And I think a lot of people, I know I, myself included, missed that step for the longest time, thinking that self-care was going to get me self-love. But I completely overlooked this radical self-acceptance step, which again is it takes a lot of practice.
Yeah, it does. And I'm constantly working on myself all the time. And for me to accept that I was, with my business, I needed to just back off for a year. And I was resisting that so much. And it was creating all this suffering. And I couldn't accept where I was actually at in my mind and body, and what I actually needed. But, when I actually gave into that, as I say, it created all this spaciousness and, groundedness and clarity. That's the other thing that it brings you. But I'll tell you what, though, if you keep resisting and resisting and you're like fixated on something, the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, will make it really hard for you, and you'll probably reach a place where you'll keep getting these little reminders, and they're going to get heavier and heavier until you're forced to do something about it. And that's what happened to me, because I can be very stubborn. My best friend will tell you this. You're so stubborn, Kat. Very stubborn, very tenacious, very determined, and I wouldn't listen. And then so it took all that for me to listen. I was like, I can't do it anymore. So yeah, I think there's also that sort of spiritual element that comes into it as well. Life will guide you.
For sure. A concept that I subscribe to is this philosophy of, until you learn the lesson, you'll continue to live it.
Yes.
And so that's another common thing that I see when people come to me for coaching, or a sign that they're ready. They've identified that they're in that hamster wheel. They're like, I don't know how I ended back here. At first it was this relationship, and then this relationship, and then this relationship. It's like I always find people who are not emotionally available, or there's always somebody better than me, or whatever it is. And they just kind of get sick of being in this loop, but they don't know how to get out.
Yeah.
So that comes with that comes with the rewiring of your brain, and identifying, well, what are your thoughts? Where are you resonating vibrationally that you would attract all of this stuff into your life, these lessons? Because they're trying to teach you something. You haven't learned it yet. So wouldn't you rather learn it than live it again? Because aren't you kind of sick of living it?
Yeah, absolutely. The world is your mirror, 100%. And when you see a repeating pattern, a repeating cycle, it means there's something that you've not identified, addressed, or brought consciousness to, that's going on inside of you, possibly a belief. And that is something that's happened to me time and time again. And until you actually learn it, it's going to keep happening. And sometimes that can be challenging and hard, and that's where a coach can come in very handy, I found, because we can't always access our subconscious ourselves. It is our subconscious. There's a lot of repressed thoughts and emotions there and beliefs that we don't even know is there to unearth. So it is helpful, like sometimes, to get that external help. And yeah, I know I've certainly needed it in the last few months. So, but it's been revolutionary for me. So
Yes, right. That, I think another kind of belief that we subscribe to unknowingly is that I can't ask for help for things, or I'm just not naturally inclined to ask for help. And whether that comes down to trust or any other million excuses as to why you're not going to, oh, I don't have time, or I don't have money, or whatever it is, realizing those are all just excuses of your brain trying to keep you the same, even though you don't really like where you are, right? There's that quote, your brain will always try to convince you, or your ego will always try to convince you to choose the familiar hell over the unfamiliar heaven.
yes, love that.
Where just because I know it, I'm going to grasp onto it because I feel
Yeah,
safe that way. And I
yeah.
think asking for help, I don't know how to do this. I want to look to somebody who's done this, who can help me. And whether that be listening to a podcast, or reading a book, or getting an app that teaches you how to meditate for 60 seconds out of your day, rather than waking up and hating yourself and filling with guilt and anxiety, or hiring a coach or joining a coaching program. We live in a world now, thanks to consumerism, there's plenty of options for you to pick from. Choose your own adventure, right? Pick what works for you. And that's the upside of this thing. There is something for everyone. You have every tool that you could possibly want that would work for you at your fingertips. And it's just about taking that time, showing yourself an act of love of, do I love myself enough to explore and be curious? Do I like this app? Oh no, I don't like that app. Oh, let me just go back to it. Let me put the mask back on. Let me just go back to what I was doing. No, I didn't like this app, but I might like something else, or I might like this book, or I might like following this person on Instagram because they ask me a question every day that I think about, or whatever.
Mm. And can I just say as well, it's really amazing because if you do this work, you're kind of like, and you start to change, and maybe your friends are noticing, oh, she seems a lot happier, or she seems a bit, she seems very together and calm and grounded. And then they start to get curious. And sometimes you set the example, whether consciously or subconsciously, you set the example for other people. And it's such an amazing domino effect that's created. And I don't mean to sound cocky, but I can see this a little bit in my life at the moment. And after all these years of me rabbiting on about this stuff, there's a few people in my life, and I've noticed them shift and change. And it's like, a wow. And they, they're like, Kat, look, I did this, I went to the gym, I went for a run, I ate this food. And I'm like, yes, that's amazing, well done. And so you really don't realize how much power you have in doing this. So you're doing it for yourself, but you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for everyone else who gets to spend time with you, who knows you, who sees you. And so it's so powerful, this work. And I just love that ripple effect that it has on the rest of
Yes.
the world.
Yes. And that's so true. And you don't always know that people are watching you. They don't always come up and tell you, hey, you're inspiring me to do this change. But people are watching, people know, people notice. And whether they tell you or not, that's up to them. It has nothing to do with you. But I love this, another quote. I'm going to work on me for you, and you work on yourself for me.
Yeah.
Right? Where I'm going to work on me. I'm not going to work on you for me. I'm not going to work on you for you. I'm going to work on myself, and that's going to benefit you. You work
Yeah.
on yourself. That's going to benefit me. And when you get, the power of collective energy, that multiplication, when you get multiple people who are on that same wavelength of that growth, it just amplifies. and it's a 1 + 1 = 3 situation where, again, it doesn't have to always feel really, really hard, and things, you can just go into that flow state, and you are allowing your life to happen. You are allowing yourself to have hot cocoa moments all the time, right? You are allowing yourself to have peace, even if you don't win at Candyland, right? It's all accessible within your inner world, and your external world will reflect your inner world. So, and it just makes sense to me. It's like, it's a more of a sure thing and more stability. Oh, I can control and allow everything from within. And it doesn't, even if I don't get that promotion or the big house or the personal relationship, romantic relationship, I can still be happy. Oh, well, that sounds way better than waiting on somebody else to make their own life decision for themselves. And I'm just on the recipient of whatever they decide,
Mm.
it doesn't.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful thing when you can reach that place, and that is my wish for everyone, actually, everybody listening, everyone in the world, to be able, like your mission, Meg, to create this inner happiness, and know how to create it, and to not shame or blame or put yourself down, and to rewire positively. Like, if everybody did that, I feel like the world would be a massively different place, and it would be a whole shakeup of our society. I really feel like that.
I agree with you. I agree
Mm.
with you. And it takes one person at a time, just one person listening to the podcast saying, I think I'm ready to take the mask off. Let me explore around and see what works for me.
Yeah,
Because I know the world is going to benefit when I do that for me.
exactly. Absolutely. So if you're someone who's listening to this show, or maybe watching it, 'cause it might be going on to YouTube. If you're
Yay.
somebody listening, though, and you would like to take your mask off, then do reach out to Meg, or reach out to myself, or both of us, if you like. If you just want a conversation, I know I'd be open. Would you be open to that, Meg?
Yes, of course.
Amazing.
Of course.
Yeah, and or if you just have any questions, please do reach out. I'm going to put Meg's details in the show notes, but just so everybody can hear, if they want to find you, Meg, where will they find you?
They can find me, probably the easiest place is Instagram. I'm expectgoodthings.meg. And then my website is letscreateyourfate.com. So I have a podcast called Create Your Fate that, Kat, I will have to have you on for sure. We can continue this conversation. But those are the easiest places to find me.
Amazing. Well, I'll be sure to put those in the show notes. And I was going to ask you, Meg, as like a final question, what powerful message would you like to leave everyone listening with today?
Powerful message. Oh my, there's so many. I think the biggest thing, and I'll just say this is my personal brand of expect good things. I think a lot of people don't expect good things because, again, we're afraid of disappointment, and going back to those negative thoughts, 80% of our thoughts are naturally negative. So when it comes to if you are going for something big in your life, expect good things. Expect good things to happen. Expect your personal development journey to bring you happiness. Expect to go for the external things that they're going to work out for you. And even if it's not the way that you originally planned, know that everything is working out for your highest good. You are listening to this podcast right now because something led you to do that, right? Your higher self said, hey, listen, I think you're ready for this. So expect the highest good to come for you because it is accessible for you, and you get it faster when you actually expect it to happen. So that's what I would
Amazing.
say.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Meg. I think you're incredible. Such a powerful, like, I just see fire when I see you, like, in a good way, like grounded fire. You're just like, you're sparky and you're confident. And I love your energy. And girl, you know what you're talking about. So
Well, thank you. Thank you. I was not always this way. So I will say that hop on your personal development journey. I should do a podcast on what I was like before my healing journey. So wherever you are in life, just know that anything is possible for you. You can make any change that you want. So
Absolutely. And all my listeners know I was not like that at all, but I've been talking about that a lot, so I won't go on about that again. Thank you so much for your time, Meg.
Oh my God, thank you.
We could literally talk for hours. And
We could. I have no doubts. We'll have to do this again.
but yeah, looking forward to coming on your show, Create
Yes.
States. That sounds amazing. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.